what's going on, everybody? Hey, I just saw that we just had Cavern and Cave Troll just became a sponsor. Also, recently joined the Patreon. So, welcome. Awesome to have you here as an adventurer. I also saw that Damian Williams just re-upped his sponsorship, so thank you so much for that. So for both of you, very, very strong. Smog agrees and thinks so. So it's great to see you all. Wonderful to have you here. And hope you're doing well. Hope your holidays were great. If I didn't get a chance to talk to you on Tuesday, we weren't supposed to do any streams this week. I was going to take a break. I was going to relax a little bit and, just enjoy a quiet week off from work, from YouTube. And, this is what happens. I got bored, and then some patrons said, hey, we should talk. And then I did a stream, and then people tipped me money, and they said, Derek, you should just you should keep doing archetypes because we like to see you suffer. I kid. Strat says, instead of relaxing, you were here doing archetypes. We could have been doing a mega dungeon design instead. Actually, if you missed our Tuesday stream, there's actually quite a few people in Knights of Last Call Discord who are pretty excited, pretty interested, and I think there's going to be I think there's actually going to be a really good group of people who are going to be doing some of this Dungeon 23 design. I'm pretty excited. I'm excited to see what people come up with, and I'm excited to see what what we're able to come up with. I think it's going to be really interesting. Some people have some really cool, interesting ideas. I have a couple of ideas about what I want to do, but I'm going to be giving it a go. Just like all the rest of you, certainly for at least the first couple months to try to keep it going. Staying on top of it a day per day is pretty tough, but I think if you let yourself get behind, but you try to catch up, I think it's manageable. I think we can definitely do it. We got a super chat here from Cybersmith Videos, who says, under the weather. I believe Cybersmith actually just told us this the other day. Got a novel coronavirus. Looking forward to catching the VOD. Will do. Awesome. Here's to a great 2023. Maybe Paizo will give us pressure rules. Cybersmith, if not in Rage of Elements, when? I tell you when. If not in Rage of Elements. Welcome everybody. Last time we did one of these, our archetypes, was back at the beginning of the month. We had a pretty busy month. We had some special bonus streams, and we sort of kind of got off of the regular run of the mill of these things. But we're back, and we are going to be starting off with H today for archetypes, and Obviously, it's unofficial. However you wish to support the channel, if you do it all, feel free to. But we've got tips at the below, tips using our stream elements. There's a link for that in the doobly-doo below. There's a link. It'll take you to our stream elements page. You can go ahead and put in a message there and send it over. Or you can use the YouTube super chat function. Either way, all of your donations and tips are appreciated. Keep these streams coming. We love to see it. We love the support from all of you. But I'm curious. This is something I was getting into a conversation about recently. I think we have 22 or 23 classes now in Pathfinder 2, and well over 100 archetypes, with probably more on the way. And as we move into the game's fourth year, I think an interesting question is what do you think Paizo should be focusing on? Where should they be spending their efforts? Should they be focusing still on divining new classes, or should they really turn their attention towards creating archetypes? I'm really legitimately interested, and so feel free to let me know. But if you want to throw your support one way or the other, we'll say today that the tips for archetypes and the super chats are for more classes. So yeah, just something just something I kind of been thinking about, something I've been interesting. But yeah, so let me get into this, but I got to do some swapping around here first, because right now I got my chat windows all messed up. So I'm gonna move my chat window so I can make sure I can see all of your wonderful messages and don't miss anything. Write and vote more systems. That is how that is how I would vote actually as well. It's a great answer. That's a great response there, KC. So I do like that one. All right. So today we have the Halcyon speaker, and I'm actually going to drag this down a little bit and resize this ever so much. There we go. All right. So the Halcyon speaker is from the character guide, and it is, no, I don't like that either. Geesh, what's going on here? Sorry, just trying to get everything sized up in a way that is pleasing. All right, there we go. All right, so this looks like this is from Old Mage Jatembe, and this is a archetype, which is from the character guide. So this is an older one, uncommon. And this is melding primal and arcane spells, and you can cast from primal and arcane. You don't gain new Halcyon spells via the normal means you typically use to gain spells. Instead, you gain new Halcyon spells only through feats. We prepare them, just like a wizard, while a sorcerer would add them to their repertoire. So either way you go. Okay, there we go. Each time you cast a Halcyon spell, decide whether it is arcane or primal. Okay. And each time you gain a level and learn new spells, and every time you gain a Halcyon feat, you can swap out spells as if you were in a repertoire. All right. So we got a dedication. This is a level 6 feat. So it is up there. You gain 2 common Halcyon cantrips and 2 common first level Halcyon spells. See Halcyon spells. Here we go. Is that here? Apparently not. Okay. It said this, but Archives and Ethos took me to another archetype. Have to check that out. Okay, let's see what this thing does. We got a $1 super chat from Ronnie Rittner showing his love and support for the stream. The class act. Got me good on the super chat. Ron, we got to sign up for the YMCA, buddy, so that we can play racquetball. Because we need to. I need it. We need it. Ron is, by the way, for everyone watching, Ron is my friend that always takes me to Vegas. So Ron is a good friend of mine who enjoys Magic the Gathering, sports, and racquetball. So Ron's a class act. That is the classiest thing you've ever done, Ron. Thank you so much. Oh, Halcyon spells is just the paragraph I just read. Okay, thank you. All right, so we get 2 spells and 2 cantrips. Got it. Okay, so it's just 2 spells from Arcane or Primal. All right, so, I mean, obviously the idea here is if I was Arcane, I would pick up 2 Primal cantrips and I would pick up 2 Primal first level spells. So I could be Arcane, Wizard, and I could pick up, say, Heal as a great example, or Magic Fang or something. So just a little bit more versatility in my spell casting. Not the worst thing. You're level 6, you get 2 first level spells, so that's okay. And we gain 1 first level slot. Okay, so you gain another slot that you can use to cast those spells. So you get 1 spell slot and 2 cantrips. That's not bad. Someone says you need another archetype to take this archetype first. Yes, you do. You need the Magambian Attendant dedication. Got it. Okay, so we need this first. We're kind of skipping ahead here, but we do need this first. All right. Good to note. You cannot select another dedication feat other than Halcyon Speaker dedication until you have gained 2 other feats from the Magambian Attendant or the Halcyon Speaker archetype. Okay, good to know. All right, so because I was about to say this actually seems pretty reasonable here. This Halcyon Speaker. Getting a spell slot and some cantrips. Hey, we got a super chat from Damian Williams. What I missed? We just got started with the Halcyon Speaker. So, not much. So, you are just in time, my friend. So, Dualistic Synergy, 1 action. It's a meta magic feat. If the next action we do is cast a spell from our spell slots, we get a benefit. Well, that's good to know that we gain a benefit. Let's see, if it's arcane, we can recall knowledge with a +1 status bonus after the spell. If it's primal, we get temporary hit points equal to the spell's level, and they last for 1 round. And if it's from our Halcyon spell slot, we get both benefits. Okay, so that's pretty rough, to say the least. Hey, we got a super chat here from Impractical Nurse. Will the Inquisitor ever come back? I don't know. You know, it's weird that they have, I mean, that was an APG class in Pathfinder 1, as I recall. I might be wrong about that, but I think it was an APG class. It's kind of shocking that it actually hasn't come back yet. And I can't imagine that they don't have a way to bring it into Pathfinder 2. So it's kind of surprising to me. But I'm gonna go ahead and say I agree with Lug, who says that the Thaumaturge kind of fills that role, and I kind of agree with that to a certain extent. But I do agree that it would be cool to get something with Divine that would work better. Well, there were a lot of classes that manipulated your math strat. So, I mean, by that argument, we shouldn't have anything. So, all right. So, Dualistic Synergy is pretty weak sauce for a meta magic feat, if we're being completely honest with here. You get back the action you spent on it to immediately get a recall knowledge, but you are getting a very small bonus. And you're getting a couple temporary hit points for 1 round. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna probably pass on that one. All right, Persistent Creation. We can cast Creation as an innate spell at will. The created object lasts until you spend 1 hour not in its vicinity or until it's destroyed. Such objects are called Persistent Creations. Now, this immediately sounds cool because I'm like, whoa, Creation at will? Sure, it's mostly flavor. It's mostly fluff, but that's a 4th level spell. That's pretty cool. And then I see here, if we cast it again, though, it's a persistent creation, except for the fact that it immediately disintegrates. A+ fluff. Unfortunate that you can't have more than 1 cool thing created at a time. It's like feels so limiting in that respect. But I mean, I guess it's pretty fun to be able to cast a 4th level spell at will. That's not bad. Again, fun for fluff. Oh yeah, I mean, of course, creation is nerfed in Pathfinder 2. This is a fluff move. Right, Luke. It's still an infinite spell, and it's not a cantrip, and that's still fairly rare. All right, so here we go. Level 10, we finally get a spellcasting feat. This gives us 2 common 2nd level Halcyon spells and 2 3rd level Halcyon spells, and then we get a 2nd level slot and a 3rd level slot. So now we have at level 10 a 1st, 2nd, and 3rd level slot. This is kind of lagging behind here a little bit. It's a little unfortunate, but so far so good. Shared Synergy. If we did pick up this relatively meta magic feat, we can get Shared Synergy, and we can grant these benefits, which were very mediocre and bad at best, to an ally instead. And of course, that ally has to be within 30 feet. So I guess that's adding extra versatility to your feat, or to your meta magic ability, but it's still pretty weak. I mean, the best case scenario is, you have an ally who's really good at recall knowledge, and you're essentially giving them a free check on recall knowledge using their really good recall knowledge, but still, it's not super special here. Charged Creation is level 12. We need that Persistent Creation. When you're within 30 feet of and have line effect to your Persistent Creation, you can use it as the origin point for line and cone spells. and you have to be within 30 feet. Wow. Again, very limited here by the fact that we can only have one persistent effect, that we have to be within 30 feet, and we can only use it as the origin for line and cones. Yikes. Not a big fan. Flexible Halcyon. We broaden our ability to cast magic. We get one more common Halcyon for each level of spell other than your highest. So at this point, we would have 2 first, 2 second, and 1 third. So, yeah, that's not horrible. Instead of not getting your 2 highest with like spellcasting breath, like we would normally be used to. At 14, we get a 4th and a 5th level slot. Okay. So at that point, yeah. So now we are 2 levels behind. And we do get expert proficiency. And then we get fulminating synergy, which is, again, building off of dualistic synergy. All right. When you use dualistic synergy, the meta magic, we choose a damage type. In addition to its normal effect, a foe within 30 feet takes an amount of damage of the chosen type equal to the spell's level. Well, there's no save. So, I mean, obviously this amount of damage at this level is pathetic. I mean, you're talking about, 5 or 6 or 7 points of damage. It's obviously very, very minimal. But, it's pretty good for if somebody has a really nasty weakness, weakness 10, weakness 15. If you can ping it and, hit them for 5 damage, trigger for 15, get free 20 bonus damage, no save for using meta magic feat. Obviously, they have to be within 30 feet of you, so still pretty close range. But, that's not horrible. I mean, this is probably the first thing that we've seen that really makes the meta magic worth it. And then lastly, we can go up to 18, and we get 6th and 7th level slots. And we go to master. So this doesn't feel that different than the normal spellcasting progression. It's just kind of wonky and delayed and kind of all over the place. And then at level 20, we get a 20th level meta magic feat. We have to be legendary in both Arcana and Nature. We combine our synergies and spells into a fantastic web of magic, allowing us to cast 2 spells at once. If the next action you use is to cast a spell from one of your Halcyon spell slots, after that spell resolves, you can cast another spell as a free action. This spell must be cast from one of your Halcyon spell slots and be a spell that would normally only take 2. So we're obviously limited here by our Halcyon spell slots, and our Halcyon spell slots cap out at level 7. So while this is very powerful, it is most definitely not OP. It's definitely probably reasonable and balanced in all things. So, but it is double casting. But again, anything that comes in at the end of the game at level 20 is pretty much not worth the paper that it's written on. Even if your campaign does get this high, and that's saying something, you're going to get to use this, maybe 2 or 3 times for the rest of the campaign. So it really, you got to, things like this, I think, are just kind of a waste, honestly. All right, Halcyon Speaker. Seems pretty okay. Obviously there's some stuff going on here mechanically, but I don't know that this is trying to solve a mechanical issue. This feels more like a flavor class, but it's not really good flavor. I mean, I guess you're supposed to be this, Magambian blending spells. It doesn't really feel like you're blending spells. And you do picked up some spell slots from other things, but, you get these new spell slots, but you could get that by just taking you could get that from taking a different spellcasting tradition anyways. It is very interesting. I'm going to say that this is flavor, and I am going to put it at B. You say it's mechanics. I don't think so. I mean, like, this to me is not a, a class that's just trying to do something in the game that we couldn't otherwise do, because it's not really blending the two. It says it is, but it's not. I mean, again, the powers and the abilities here aren't bad, and I'm not going to beat it up on that too much. All right. Next is the Hallowed Necromancer from the Book of the Dead. Oh my, look at how much words they put here. Yeah, I agree. It's, it's definitely into that sort of Moangi space. It's the idea of this sort of, hyper magical, sort of shamanistic arcane caster. So definitely very, very cool, It's a little mystic theurgy. I agree, Aaron. It's a little mystic theurgy. Let me adjust this real quick. There we go. Okay. Hallowed Necromancer is our next one. This is a great archetype with a typo right in its first feat. Okay, well, let's see what we got then there, Damien. All right, so our next one up is Hallowed Necromancer. We study necromancy and we're evil, but others choose a different path. Through spiritual study and introspection, they've come to recognize the evil in undead, the fundamental wrongness of using the universal energy of death to create the appearance of life. And to combat this evil, these casters learn to conduct positive energy and direct it to great effect against the undead they encounter. So we're good necromancers. We're like, white hat hackers. All right. Very cool. I mean, fundamentally, very interesting. You need to be an expert in religion and able to cast at least one necromancy spell. So yes, even though it is a level 2 feat, Lug, I don't know, maybe there's some weird way a rogue could qualify for it, or if you had a background that let you start off with an expert in religion. So this is the anti-Kaz archetype. That is 100% correct. You're saying that there's the typo. What's the typo? Rogues can't qualify. Why can't a rogue qualify? Oh, because you have to be able to cast spells using spell slots. Oh, it's supposed to be trained in religion. Oh, okay. Or it's supposed to be feat 4. Interesting. All right. So we are trained in religion. We're good aligned. We can cast spells. So pretty much anybody who is a spellcaster could take this. We gain the Hallowed Ground Focus spell, which is a 60-foot range, 10-foot burst, 1 minute's duration. The area becomes inhospitable to undead. Every undead takes 1d6 positive and 1d4 damage, good damage, which will trigger weaknesses with a basic fort save. After that, undead creatures have weakness 1 to positive damage and your necromancy spells while in the area. The spell also attempts to automatically counteract any undead that gets raised in the area. Pretty small burst, I will admit, but that's a lot of effect. And it heightens every 2, which isn't great. I'd like to see it heighten 1, but whenever you have a weakness scaling, this is not going to scale up to 10. So the weakness scales all the way up to 5 at level 20, and that's level 9, I should say. That's pretty weak. And honestly, once you're pinging the damage, it doesn't really matter. So it's not the best focus spell, but it's not the worst. Honestly, we've seen a lot worse focus spells, so that's not horrible. This spell feat grants you a pool of focus points, which obviously could, I think, be your second focus point if you have a pool already. Get some anathemas. All right. Hallowed Initiate, feat 4. You get an additional focus spell. Either Call of the Grave. Ooh. 30 foot. Oh, goodness. It's a ray. Interesting. Short range. Spell attacks suck, but that's pretty great. Sicken 1 on hit is great. Sicken 2 on a crit, and slowed 1 while they're sicken is unbelievable. So this is I mean, I'm aware of this focus spell because I've seen it from the necromancer before. But this is a solid focus spell. Yeah, so just as an FYI, this focus spell is not tied to Hallowed Necromancer. This is the focus spell that you get for being a necromancer specialist with wizard. We got any background music tonight? We do. I think it's just really quiet. How's that? Let me know, London. Is that better? So, that's not bad. Or we get the domain spell, Death's Call. Oh, and we go our focus point up by 1 immediately. Ryan says, play Sandstorm. I will get copyright claimed. Death's Call is from the Cleric Death Domain. It is a reaction. A living creature of you dies, or an undead creature is destroyed within 20 feet of you. It's a strange range. You get temporary hit points equal to the creature's level plus your spellcasting modifier, and it lasts 1 minute. This isn't bad. So not bad. I like this feat. This feat's fun. Good spells, increase in focus point pool. I mean, getting 2 of these Call of the Graves each combat is pretty decent, honestly. Especially if you can get like a True Strike on this. Obviously, is what you really want to do. Get that True Strike going on this. All right, sacred spells. We add a bunch of, anti-undead spells to our spell list. They are necromancy for you, even if they are normally from different schools. We can prepare them. In addition, we have a conduit to the positive energy plane, allows us more flexibility. Choose one of these 2 benefits. If you're a prepared caster, you can spend 10 minutes to replace a spell that you've prepared with a prepared spell from this list for 10 minutes. That's not bad. Or if we're spontaneous, we can add 2 of these spells from our list to our repertoire, and they are, in addition, they are signature spells for us. So a lot of, now let's see. Death Ward's not bad. Disrupt Undead is good for triggering, but it's a cantrip. Disrupting weapons can be very powerful. I don't remember Holy Cascade. You need 500 feet. Jeesh. It's a good fireball. Very shitty damage though. But it does positive, and it does good. So it can trigger weaknesses. So again, I mean, adding a bunch of cool spells, most of which are quite frankly going to be maybe from different traditions that you can't cast. They're not horrible. And, being able to swap them out when you need them, that's not the worst thing I've ever heard. So this is pretty good. Commander Bernhardt, the champion player in the AV game I'm running, used Death's Call to avoid dying from the exploding undead leech when it self-destructed on death. Such an amazing moment. So yeah, again, I'm pretty happy with this. This is a pretty cool feat, and it's only a level 4 feat. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, Death Warden. You get resistance to negative damage equal to half your level. Okay, and a +1 status bonus against spells with the negative trait. An archetype feat to gain 10 negative by 20th level is not the worst thing that we've ever seen in Pathfinder 2. So I'll take it. Advanced, and I don't think you have any other level 6 feats. So, but honestly, you might be tempted, assuming that Damien is correct and that this should say trained in religion, that take an initiate at 4, you might be hard pressed at 6 between taking sacred spells or taking Death Warden. I'd probably take sacred spells, And then let's say at 8, this is assuming a free archetype, by the way, but at 8, would I take Death Warden, or would I take Advanced Hollow, or would I take Positive Luminance? Okay, so we'll talk to positive. So I was a Sun Cleric in Dark of Winter, and I think this is one of my favorite spells in Pathfinder 2. This is Positive Luminance, and it reads like unlike any other spell that has been written for the game. It lasts 1 minute. It's only one action to cast. Each turn, you build up it creates a new pool, like a separate pool called the Luminance Reservoir, that builds up by 4 each turn. And as you heighten the spell, like at 5, right now it's obviously focus 4, so it gets 4 per turn. At 5, it's 5. At 6, it's 6. At 7, it's 7. All the way up to focus 10, where it's 10 per turn. And it builds up this reservoir, which keeps making it get brighter and brighter and brighter. Then, if an undead damages you while within the area of your ever-expanding globe of light, it takes damage, positive damage, automatically, no save, equal to half of your built-up value. And then you can dismiss the spell as one action, of course, and you can either target a creature to heal them, or you could target an undead creature to damage them. This is probably my favorite spell in Pathfinder 2. Certainly my favorite focus spell. I loved this spell. I cast it pretty much every fight because it was one action, and it just starts building up this reservoir, which not only gives you some incidental, damage shield against undead, but then it's a fantastic way to just, easily drop a good chunk of healing into yourself or into a target. Yeah, it's fantastic. By the way, this heals a living target or damages an undead equal to the reservoir value. So it's not half. So, if you've built this thing up to like 40 or 50 points of damage, you just dismiss it. Boom, auto damage. How's that? It's amazing. I love it. It's one of my favorite spells. Okay, anyways, sorry. So I'm taking that. And then we could also take Advanced Hollow spell. We get Life Siphon, or we get Eradicate Undeath, and we get another focus point in our pool. If we choose Life Siphon, it triggers when you expend spell slots from your class, even if they aren't wizard. Dismiss is one action. That's correct. So I love it. Let's see. Life Siphon. What do we got for Life Siphon? Reaction. You expend one of your spell slots to cast a wizard spell. You heal yourself for 1d8. That's not bad for a reaction. Necromancer spells are pretty good there. What about Eradicate Undeath? Each undead takes 4d12 in a cone. That could be pretty good. And it heightens by 1d12 per level. So it's a lightning bolt cone. And it's positive. So again, it's only useful versus undead. So, and lastly, we got a big jump here. Consecrated Aura. Our very presence radiates positive energy. We gain an aura of positive energy. Each undead creature that ends its turn must make a will save against our spell DC, or become frightened 1, frightened 2 on a crit failure. Not the worst feat in the world. Well, I'm pretty impressed here. This is a fun, great class. This is the mechanics to play the good necromancer. I really like this class. I think it does what it says on the tin really well. And I think this is a mechanic A. I think this is a fantastic archetype. A lot of fun, especially if you want to play, like I said, the good necromancer. Obviously, it is somewhat limited if you never fight undead. But, undead's a fairly common type. If you're in the right AP for it, you certainly can get a lot of use out of it. Adventure, Abomination Vault, anybody. Yeah, this is a fantastic archetype, for sure. I agree. JG said it well. ARS archetype, if there are major undead enemies in your campaign, it's like a D otherwise. And I'm right I'm right on top of that. Ooh, really like it. Going to use an archetype for my Arenal Death Guard in my Eberron campaign. Arenal Death Guard, sweet. Arenal is the homeland of the elves in Eberron, and the Eberron are basically like, they have like good undead. They have like, they create these things called Deathless, and their liches are actually good aligned. They like, you know, are willing to live forever to keep protecting their people. It's very cool. Yeah, it is. It's good. It's not broken. So that is why it's an A. It's not an S. Yes. I mean, I think if you are in a campaign, like, you know, there's a fair amount of undead in Abomination Vaults, but like, there's a lot of aberrations too. But I was gonna say, like, if you are fighting a lot of undead, this is I mean, this is probably S tier in power. Lug with a suggestion for the next archetype. Please read the Hellknight armiger first, then the Hellknight. Okay, I'll do what you say. So we do have an Hellknight, and yes, the prerequisite is the Hellknight armiger. So we will start with the Hellknight armiger. Hellknight armiger. All right. Oh, I did the wrong one. Here we go. All right. Hellknight armiger is up next. So you're right. So Hellknights are the kind of lawful evil, but like also don't like chaos and disorder, but they're kind of dicks. In case you don't, that's me espousing Golarion lore. You have to be trained in heavy armor. Interesting. All right. What do we get for this dedication? We get resistance to mental damage equal to 1 plus the number of feats. And we are trained in intimidation and hell lore. And if we were already trained, we become upgraded to expert. So let's assume that we are already trained in intimidate. And so there we're going to, basically, we're going to get expert in lawful. Hell Knights are the Judge Dredd of Golarion. And yeah, and I would consider Judge Dredd to be lawful evil. So there we go. Resistance to mental damage 1 is not great. Even as it builds up, it's not super great. I guess you get expert in intimidation early, but you know, there you go. That's about it. Yeah, Casey, being a member of the Hell Knight Order is just a fluff thing in the thing. You know, you have to be from old Cheliax to even have access to this archetype. So there you go. All right. Not a great dedication. I'm not a fan of it, but let's see if we get anything better. How many feats do we get? A couple. All right. We get Ardent Armiger, which is just fun to say. Ardent Armiger. And we have been trained to resist the manipulation of fiends, and your Hell Knight's discipline makes you difficult to influence. You get a +1 circumstance bonus to... Oh, here we go. Guess what? So this is one of those things. This is from the World Guide. And this is one of those things like the human, what's it called? Haughty obstinacy, which is in the core rulebook. This is one of those things that you read it and you go, huh, this doesn't do anything. And when I first read Pathfinder 2, and I read feats like Haughty Obstinacy, and I read feats like Ardent Armiger, I got really excited. Because I thought they were putting into D20 the ability for NPCs to modify your character's attitude without your permission. When I read feats that exist in the core rulebook, again, look up Haughty Obstinacy. It's a human feat, human ancestry feat. But this adds +1 bonus to effects that specifically improve your attitude and to our will DC against someone trying to coerce us, make an impression on us, or make a request of us. But guess what? According to the rules of Pathfinder 2, you can do none of those things. If you are a PC, you cannot be, you cannot have your archetype, you cannot have your attitude change. There's no such thing. Obviously, this works against demoralization because while it is possible in the rules of the game to intimidate someone by demoralizing them into being frightened, which is actually a really horrible, demoralize doesn't really frighten you. It's kind of two separate concepts, but anyways, your character can be made afraid, but your character cannot be made cooperative, and they cannot be made to be, you know, more friendly to you. So essentially, this does nothing. But we get this extra benefit here, which is if we would be mentally compelled, if a mental effect would compel us to act in a way that violates our order's tenets, we get a reaction to attempt to break free with a new will save. So if we get like charmed or something. But yeah, obviously this is a very, very, very weak and circumstantial feat. And again, most of this doesn't actually do anything. Yes, and of course, now Strat brings up an interesting point, which we're not going to get into because we actually want to get through these archetypes today. It says, well, frightened also doesn't cause fear or anything. It just causes a -X status penalty. And you are completely correct, Strat. The same way that, you know, if I take hundreds of hit points of damage, I'm actually not hurt. But I might be bleeding, but I'm still not actually injured. You know, that's an interesting question on the very core philosophy of this game, which is, you know, if my character is frightened -3 or -4, but is that, you know, is my character really frightened? Or, you know, there's nothing in the game that makes me have to play my character as being frightened. It's just they call it frightened. It's a very interesting concept. Anyways, obviously this fails the sniff test here. All right, Diabolic Certitude. It's free action. Your turn begins and we can observe a devil. We get to make a recall knowledge check for free. And we cannot be lied to. Always a bonus when the game goes, you know what? We're not going to lie to you either. This is about as specific as it gets, but hey, free action every turn to get recall knowledge checks. I mean, it's good, highly specific, but it is a skill feat. So this is pretty good, I guess, as skill feats go. I mean, if you're like me, by the time you've picked up the 3 or 4 skill feats that you actually thought you wanted, you're scratching your head for skill feats anyways. All right. Mortification. Your reckonings have prepared your body for physical punishment. Choose bludgeoning or piercing or slashing based on the nature of your physical reckonings, whatever the hell that means. You gain resistance to the chosen damage type equal to the number of class feats from Hellknight, Armiger, and other Hellknight archetypes. So, assuming we took 10 of these, by the end of the game, we'd have 10 resistance to 1 damage type. Not the worst feat in the world. Obviously, you know, at the time when we pick this up, we're going to get 2 resistance to 1 damage type, which is very sad, obviously. You know, even by the time we're level 6 or 8, you know, we're probably taking 20, 30, 40, maybe even 40 damage per hit on a crit or something like that. So taking off 2 points of damage or 3 or 4 points of damage, I mean, yeah, it might be 10%. And I guess that matters, but it doesn't feel good. I'm going to tell you that. It doesn't feel good. All right, Armiger's mobilities. Expert in heavy armor. Okay, so wow, and this is a level 8 feat. So the only people that are expert at level 8 are like champions. I'm pretty sure. I don't even know if they're expert at, someone could check that up, but champions might just be expert at level 8 in heavy armor. But and when you've moved really well in heavy armor, when wearing heavy armor, if you meet the strength requirement, instead of reducing it by 5 feet, reduce it by 10. Hey, and if you are a dwarf with the unburdened iron feat, increase your speed by 5 feet. Champions get expert at 7. Okay, great. And wow, this is not a bad feat. I mean, we're all excited about it because It's 5 extra feet of movement, people. It's 5 extra feet of movement. Okay. I agree with JG. The entire archetype feels like it was made for an earlier draft of the game. I agree with that. By the way, Boothby, who nearly fell asleep listening to us, somehow we found the dog treats. Go figure. I don't know. They must have fallen out somehow. I don't know, but we found them. So looking forward to doing that. To giving our dog stuff. So you were not crazy. You did pack them. Thank you so much. The dogs are going to dig into them today. Listen, look, Armiger's mobility is kind of a reason to take the archetype. Wow. 5 feet of movement, Strat. This is the fleet feat. Like, this is, I hate that. Here's what you're not wrong. Okay, Lug and Strat, you're not wrong. But I hate that we're excited about this. I hate that we are excited about this. Also, Aaron is completely correct, and that is fucking hilarious. Yes, this is where we are at with feats. Like, yeah, we're like, holy shit. If you get to level 8 and you're like an expert in heavy armor and you can eliminate the penalty from armor speed completely. Normally, you can only eliminate 5 feet of the movement of the penalty. This lets you eliminate all 10 feet. That's true. Dwarves are slower regardless. But still, I mean, from a dwarven perspective, you're moving faster. Nothing about this archetype screams Hellknight. Correct. Unless being a Hellknight just means wearing armor. And, I don't know, scarring your body. I mean, here's the thing. This thing says it is a Hellknight armiger. But armiger, it means like a heavily armored warrior. So really, I view this as more of a heavy armor feat or heavy armor class. Anyways, all right, here we go. Moving ahead. Order training. You gain the lesser order benefit for the Hellknight order to which you belong. Somebody said Hellknight orders are just FBT. This apparently is not. I don't even know what this is. I wouldn't even know where you would look this up. So let's just assume that it's okay. You get, okay. And then at 12, you get the greater order benefit. Okay. Also, at this point, we would need to have had higher level stuff. And then at 12, we can cross order and get another benefit from another order. What nonsense. Galarian in Death says it is in the world guide. Well, we're not looking it up. Okay, so I guess the question is, and I will, you know what I like to do here. I'm going to put it to a poll. Is this Hellknight armiger, is this mechanical or flavor? I mean, I guess it's supposed to be flavor, right? Because it's a Hellknight. It's a you know, it's a thing in the world. So I guess it's flavor, but it feels like it's just giving you a bunch of mechanical options that, you know, help you be better in heavy armor. 3 feet for 5 foot movement and speed increase. It's definitely mechanical. It's a very bland flavor. They're on Archives of Nethys. Okay. Unless it's an evil campaign, there's only one order. Got it. Where the hell is... Where would that even be? Hellknight orders. Conditions, traits? What does that enter? All right, let's take a look. Here we go. Order the chain. All right. We get the shackles of law. 2 actions. We make a melee strike, and we can try to grapple them if we're wielding a flail. And we can ignore the requirement that we need to have a hand free. Okay, so this is like knockdown, but with grapple. That's actually not bad. Why can we only be along to one of these? There's so many orders. Jesus Christ. There are a lot of these orders. All right, well, we're not going to look through all these. All right. Looks like people are kind of torn here. Damien says, only the Order of the God Claw is lawful neutral. The rest are all lawful evil. The best one is the How do you people know all of these freaking abilities? All right. Dedication to the 5. You get Domain Initiate, but you must select either protection. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Blessing of the 5. Greater benefit. Once a day for 3 actions, you can cast 3 action heal, heightened to 1 level lower than half your level rounded up. You can select up to 4 creatures in that area to remain unaffected by the spell. You can instead use this ability to bring a creature within 30 feet that has died within the last round back from the dead. If you do, they are restored to 1 hit point and are doomed 1 for 24 hours. I mean, obviously, that's pretty good. So that's pretty good. The best feat is just casting heal. Oh. Good stuff. All right, well, 61% of you said it's mechanical. I'm not, like, overly impressed with this. Obviously, it has one of the best feats in the game in plus 5-foot movement. But I cannot possibly give this thing a very high ranking. I think we'll give it a C. I think we'll give it a C. All right. So that was the Hellknight armiger. So now we have 2 more Hellknights. We have the Hellknight signifier. And they have to so after we were an armiger, we become a Hellknight or we become a Hellknight signifier. Is I'm reading this correct? All right, so let's go to Hellknight. By the way, the fact that the class that is like a name of literally a piece of the lore isn't flavor is kind of scary that we think that. All right, they are the fiercest warriors of the Inner Sea region. They have emerged from the Hellfort trials, ready to serve as faceless bastions of law wherever chaos may threaten to rear. You have to take on 1 devil by yourself just to join the Hell Knights. Well, that is a steep price there, John. Not bad. All right. These are fully inducted members of a Hell Knight order. You could select the dedication for these archetypes, even if you haven't yet. You can select the dedication feats for these archetypes, even if you haven't yet gained feats from the Hell Knight armiger archetype. Got it. But we do have to have passed the Hell Knight test. Good to know. All right. We have forged. Oh my God. Oh. Damn you, Galarian. Damn you. Okay. This is just another example. Okay, ready? You have forged your body to comply with the commands of your mind. Orders steeped in the measure and the chain. Capital chain, capital measure. I am 100% willing to bet that the obviously Dragonlance has recently come out, and for the 5th edition, and for anyone who doesn't know anything about that, Dragonlance is defined by a knightly order called the Knights of Solamnia, and the Knights of Solamnia have a their code is called the Oath and the Measure, and I'm going to go out on a limb, and I am going to guess that this this chain and this measure is just a copy of what they did in Dragonlance. So very sad. They called it the chain and the measure instead of the oath and the measure. But again, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not actually going to look it up, but the fact that it literally is just you know, is exactly that. Nope. The measure, a massive codex of duties, laws, and crimes, not in order per se. But Luke, yeah. So the measure in the Knights of Solamnia is the extensive set of rules by which a knight lives their life, giving instructions on how to live the oath. It is a big, huge written set of laws and codes that the Knights of Solamnia follow in order to live their life. So, what is the chain? Do we know that? What is this called? A Hellknight? What is the chain? So, okay. Well, interesting. By the way, the oath is Esthulareth es mythos, which is my honor is my life, by the way. Anyways. I'm just going to reiterate and just simply say this entire organization is pretty much 100% definitely inspired by and copied of the Knights of Solamnia. All right. Anyways, Hellknight dedication. We become expert in intimidation or another skill of your choice, of you're trained in. So we probably already have that. So that's not really doing a whole lot for us. We get the armor specialization effects of Hellknight plate, and your resistance from that armor specialization is 1 higher. In addition, you get a +1 circumstance bonus to intimidation checks while wearing your Hellknight plate. Well, that's not bad. I mean, that's permanent. That's not bad. Yeah. All right. Not the best dedication feat, especially for a level 6 one. My God. Damien says, I mean, Galarian is just James Jacobs' home campaign world from D&D. Not surprised he stole from Dragonlance. He stole from Ravenloft too. Oh, yeah, for sure. William Brandis asking how it is here at the dumpster. Well, we just discovered another thing that I just, for me, I just discovered something that, another thing that Galarian stole from another fantasy IP. In this case, from the Knights of Solamnia. Yes. So a little bit of damage reduction via specialization, which is, you know, obviously only works against one damage type ever. You get 1 upgrade from a train to an expert, and you get a very, very small bonus. Sense chaos. I'm here for chaos. I'm here to kill chaos. Chaos. All right. You sense chaos as an unsettling feeling of nervous energy. When in the presence of an aura of chaos that is powerful or overwhelming, you eventually detect the aura. Though you might do so instantly and you can't pinpoint the location. This is a vague sense, similar to a sense of smell. But a chaotic creature could still use a disguise. Okay. All right, so I can sniff chaos out. All right, well, that's not horrible. Luke says, "Oh no, fantasy games basing their things on other games or IPs. Who would have thought?" I mean, yeah, Luke, but I mean, if I came out with a novel and it was about wizards and they were going to a wizard school, but they were trying to overcome challenges, and one of them was you might be like, okay, yeah, this seems a little derivative, my friend. We haven't seen one of these. This is very Pathfinder 1-ish. Oh, listen, I'm not saying that everything isn't derivative. I'm just saying, like, that's the world we live in, I guess, nowadays. So we get a little better in our armor, the tiniest bit. We can now smell chaos. Smell chaos. Then we get the Blade of Law. For 2 actions, we can call upon the power of law and make a weapon or unarmed strike against a foe you have witnessed breaking or disrespecting the law or otherwise acting disorderly. The strike deals 2 extra weapon damage if the target of your strike is chaotic. Now, it's interesting here. This does not say it increases your map attack. Now, obviously, by the way, I have to have witnessed them breaking the law, and they have to be chaotic. And then we convert it into lawful damage. But these are extra weapon damage dice. So this is functionally power attack, except it is it does not count as 2 attacks for your multiple attack penalty, but it only works against chaos. Strat, remind me never to play a game with you ever, please. Yes. Keep in mind, power attack at level 10 becomes 2 extra weapon damage dice. So this is level 12, and it is doing the same thing that power attack does. The only difference is power attack increases your multiple attack penalty to -10 when you're done with it. This apparently does not. And by the way, I'm only guessing it does not because they made this when the game was first coming out and somebody forgot to include that line of text. And Pathfinder and Paizo refuses to do errata and updates. Ryan, the biggest problem I have with all these dedications is you will now have resistance to mental, and you'll have resistance to 2 different types of physical damage, and all 3 of them will be different values. Yes, Strat, this is a nice option. You can convert your damage to lawful, even if the target's not chaotic, in which case it won't do any damage. Very nice. So, I mean, if you're fighting a lot of chaotic people, and you believe that power attack is a worthwhile feat, not the worst option in the world. But we could also take Hell's Armaments. If you have expert proficiency in any weapon or unarmed attack, we gain expert proficiency in our order weapon as well. Keep in mind, we are 1 level away from becoming a master. This does nothing for that. And if we have expert proficiency in any armor, we get expert proficiency in Hellplate as well. Hellknight plate, I should say. Got to be honest with you, people. This is a rough class. This, to me, is definitely flavor, right? Like, you're smelling chaos. No, I guess it's not. It's more mechanical. It's just bad. This is like a D. Sorry, Hellknight. You're getting Hellknight's getting the D. I mean, maybe, you know, it would be an F, but I'll give it a D because they can smell chaos. And that's got to be worth something. All right. Or are we done with Hellknights yet? No, we still have another one. Hellknight signifier. All right. I'm a spellcaster. All right. We do spellcasting stuff. Right, nice. We have to have a spellcasting class feature. We have to have the Hellknight armiger dedication. We have to have a lawful alignment. We have to be a member of a Hellknight order, and we have to pass the Hellknight test. Satir says Hellknight archetypes are all 1000% flavor. Satir, the chat voted, and they believed that the Hellknight was more mechanical, that it had mechanical abilities for you to be able to interact with and mess with chaotic creatures and chaotic beings. They voted, not me. Blame it on them. Because I agree with you. I think it is flavor. That's a lot of prerequisites to take this dedication. You have bolstered your force of will with the power of the measure and the chain. The Hellknight armiger was mechanical. The Hellknight? Okay, so we're saying the Hellknight is not mechanical. All right, fine. Flavor D. I'll change it. I don't care. All right. You receive a signifier mask, often devoid of eye holes. Oh no, we're so edgy. But it doesn't obscure our vision. Although it makes it impossible to see your eyes. All right. Does it explain why? While wearing your mask, you get a +1 circumstance bonus. Oh, shit. To deception checks to lie, intimidation checks, and deception DCs against sense motive. And we become expert in intimidation, as well as in arcana, nature, occultism, or religion. So one of those. So what do we get? We get a +1 circumstance bonus to a couple of skill checks. We get expert in intimidation, which we probably already were. And we get expert in a skill. So, but that's not bad. So this is actually a reasonable dedication feat. Still not great. Masked casting. For free action, we begin to cast a spell. Magical energy flows through our eyeless mask, and we avert our gaze. Wow. Show of hands in the chat. How many people in 3 years of playing Pathfinder 2 have ever had you or anyone at your table avert gaze? And I'm waiting for a bunch of people to give me stupid responses. But I'm going to tell you that in my 3 years of playing Pathfinder 2, no one ever has averted gaze. We got one. We got one person said once. JG says they didn't even know this existed. Oh, it exists. Oh, it exists. All right. If Gid says never, it's over. Okay? It's just over. Correct. It's not a reaction. It is an action. You got to set it up. In Pathfinder 2, it takes 2 seconds. A round is 6 seconds. You get 3 actions. It takes 2 seconds to administer battlefield medicine from a toolkit on your body. It also takes 2 seconds to avert your gaze. Yes, this is the point out action with yes, exactly, salty bacon. So it looks like only one person, Captain Yankee. Captain Yankee, you are the true Pathfinder 2. All the rest of us were posers. All right. Well, no longer, people. I'm not going to lie. That might be the worst feat in the game. I mean, I guess it's a free action, but wow, this is this is bad. Oh, okay. That there's a lot of competition. No. The worst feat is a friend in every port. I do know that one. That one is pretty bad. I've got logic. I mean, at least that does something. All right, anyways. Gaze of veracity. Our mask's power flows through us. We get +1 to our focus point pool, and we get glimpse the truth. It's a focus spell. Divine insight lets us see things as they truly are. The GM makes a secret counteract check. You gotta love that. Against each illusion. And if instead of counteracting the illusion, you can see through it. So, a lot of ability to glimpse through illusion. Here's the funny thing. It says it gives us the ability to pierce through lies and see the truth in any situation. The problem is, this does nothing against lies, and it says nothing about the truth in any situation. This lets us counteract illusions. So, again, the flavor text here, woefully overstating what this does. But, you know, it's okay. This isn't a bad feat. It's not a bad focus spell. You get a +1 to your focus pool. Like, it's not a bad feat. Signifier Sight. We are level 10, and we get Dark Vision. Wow. People, look at that power. If the target's concealed, because we're dazzled, that flat check goes from 5 to 3. Wow.
I am
just
I am strong.
5 to 3, people.
Strong.
Horizon Thunder Sphere. 5 to 3. How do we not? Whew, boy, this is that is power overwhelming right there. They can still hide though. Yeah, that's totally true. Right, by the way, Salty Bacon, right in front of you. I am talking about standing in front of you. You are like, here, check this out. You're playing Pathfinder 2. You are a signifier. You've got your mask. You have cast Gaze of Veracity. You have the signifier Sight. You become dazzled, and a rogue makes a stealth check directly in front of you. Nothing that this spell does, nothing that this ability does prevents that, and nothing that the Gaze of Veracity, able to pierce through lies and see the truth, helps in any respect. And there is now a rogue who is standing directly in front of you, but they are hidden, and you can't see them. All right. Obviously, this is pretty bad. And lastly, we get Signifier Armor Expertise. If you are an expert in armor, you get expert in medium and heavy. Well, that's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, it's a long time waiting to get to level 12, and you probably don't have the strength to even work or operate in medium and heavy armor. In which case, if you did, you probably would have taken a champion dedication a long time ago. Well, this one's pretty rough, folks. I'm not gonna lie. I can't give it. All right, I think it's a flavor D. I can't give it a flavor F. It's really bad though. Mass casting. All right, the dedication is meh. The mass casting is horrible. Gaze of Veracity is okay. You know what? Yeah, all right. Flavor F. Sorry. It's bad. It's just not good. All right, we're done with the Hellknights. Woo!
Dungeons and Dragons. Satan's game.
Captain says you do get a cool mask that you can see through. That's worth at least a D. No, I'm gonna have to stick with Captain Yankee. We'll put it under special considerations, but I mean, you are the true Pathfinder 2 connoisseur, but we're gonna stick with F. Yeah, half their abilities do straight up nothing. All right, here we go. Herbalist are okay. The plants and around us can provide more remedies than the finest hospital or temple. All right, let's see if it holds up to that. They made Hellknight suck to discourage edgelords. Yeah, that maybe checks out. All right, I am familiar with the Herbalist dedication. It's from the APG, and it's been around. It's a good one. All right, you got to be trained in nature, and you have to take natural medicine, which of course will let you use your medicine skill instead of your your nature skill instead of your medicine skill in order to make treat wounds checks. All right, you get some. You get basic alchemy, so you get some infusions, but you can only make basically healing elixirs, and you can make antidote, and you can make anti-plague. You get batches of infused reagents per day equal to your level, or half your level if you didn't make your preparation in the wilderness. So if you're in the town, you get half your level. If you're out there in the wilderness, you get your full level. Your advanced alchemy level starts at 1, so you're making, minor elixirs of health and the like. Your nature becomes expert, and now you can use nature instead of crafting if you want to make herbal items. And we don't have to be trained in crafting or even have the alchemical crafting feat to do so. And we can use healer's tools instead of alchemist tools. This is a win on every level. For a dedication feat, this is a win on every level. It's fantastic. It's great. It does what it says on the tin, and big fan. I love it. Hey, we just got a super chat from John. John said, we made it through hell. Knights. John, well done.
RPG! 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 RPG!
I appreciate the pun, and yes, we made it through hell. Knights. Which works on so many levels that I appreciate it even more. All right. This is a fantastic dedication. It just does everything. What a win. Total win here. All right. Fresh ingredients. When we use natural medicine to treat wounds, we can spend a batch of herbs to gain +2 circumstance bonus, even if we're not in the wilderness. And if we are in the wilderness, we get a +4 bonus instead. It's a really healthy benefit. That's a big bonus. +4 circumstance bonus is equivalent to legendary aid. So that is a huge number. That is going to make a real difference when you are treating wounds during your 10-minute exploration phase. Huge benefit, huge bonus, fantastic. This is one of the ones from Knights of Last Wall. I'm not really worried about that. This got added later. I'm not worried about this, about making soup. Who cares? Okay. Poultice preparation. You can create an herbal elixir. When you create one of our herbal elixirs using our herbalism, we can prepare it as a poultice instead. A poultice gains the oil trait, but it remains alchemical, and it loses the elixir and the ingested traits. And we can apply a poultice by interacting with one hand. When you apply a poultice, in addition to the item's normal effects, the recipient can make an immediate flat check to recover from a persistent source of bleed, persistent acid, persistent bleed, or persistent fire damage, and the DC is reduced from appropriate assistance. A little specific, but still not horrible. Obviously, it's great to be able to apply it to other people who are adjacent to you. Persistent acid, bleed, or fire damage are probably among the more common types, in terms of, what's the word I'm looking for? In terms of a type of persistent damage. So not horrible there. Again, pretty okay. Persistent damage is common, but you know it specifically has to be acid, bleed, or fire. But again, I'm saying that those are fairly common types of ongoing persistent damage. All right, endemic herbs. When we're doing our daily preparations, we can file medicinal plants endemic to our region, and until our next preparation, we can spend an additional batch of our herb infusions to gain a benefit to an item which we create with our herbalism. The benefit of the special herbs affects the creature, and if it's not immediate, it lasts for 1 minute. It counts as an additive, and we can't use any other additives then. And here we go. If we're in the aquatic, we can give them a +1 circumstance bonus to saving fort saves. In the Arctic, for 1 hour, they treat cold 1 less. For desert, treat heat 1 less. Forest, get a bonus against disease and poisons. Mountains, bonus to reflex saves. Plains, bonus to will saves. It sucks that it only lasts 1 minute, but swamp removes persistent bleed, and underground is a +1 circumstance bonus to perception. Again, not horrible, but pretty good. Not only does this allow, elixirs underwater, even if someone is sickened, you could still apply the elixir because now it is a poultice. All right, expert herbalism. All right, now our advanced alchemy level catches up to our level -3. Love it. We get all the formulas for elixirs of life. Great. Lesser at 8, moderate at 12, greater at 16, major at 18 automatically. Awesome. Cool. It was a short but sweet little dedication. Or archetype. Dedication does a lot. It's fun. It's flavorful. You know, I'm a big fan of this. It is mechanical. I don't think this is a flavor. And, you know, I'm kind of on the fence here. Strat, how is flavor S to F ranked? I was under the impression that it's based on how cool it sounds, not on whether it does anything. Correct. It is based off of whether or not the intent of the archetype is to fill a mechanical role within the game, or if it's designed to just add flavor and fun to the game. That's how that works, by the way. B mechanics, super flavor, but it is super flavorful. Yeah, I don't believe it's actually that flavorful, but yeah, sorry, my chat was really lagging there. So sorry about that. There was John's funny joke. Thank you, John. Yeah, I mean, this is a fantastic. I mean, again, I don't know. Is it a B? Is it an A? So this, I think it's mechanical. I can't spell it. Herbalist. I think it can only be S, A, or B. So I'll ask you guys. Again, I don't think this is, you know, powerful, overwhelming, but I do think it is compelling and fun. Luke says it cannot be B because the alchemist is already a B, and it is better because you can create a wider array of stuff. Interesting. Good point. I think it's fairly close to a B, though, even despite that. I mean, you know, these are wider range. Luke is saying C+ on that basis. So, all right, well, 69% of you are saying A, so 69% of you are wrong. It's not better than the alchemist people. So I see what the poll is saying. 70% of you are saying A. That seems ridiculously high. You think this herbalist is on par with the rogue, the beast gunner, and the dual weapon warrior? It is not. All right, it's a B. Okay. Yeah, it's 70% Nin, but I mean, it's also, you know, yeah. But the good news, Nin, is I get to just, you know, it's my channel. I get just to ignore it. You gave the options S, A, and B, so you don't get to mock people for picking A because you put S in the list. Listen. All right. Democracy wins again. That's right. Listen, sometimes it's not a choice. Sometimes it's just, what do you think? I rank the spells, not you all. But still fun. I mean, you know, I think a B there is fantastic for something which is essentially just, you know, making medicine checks with herbs, and, you know, making some small little fun little potions. I mean, you know, making all those elixirs in life and stuff like that. I mean, healing is a dime a dozen in Pathfinder 2. So, the only healing that really matters is, you know, near max level heals or soothes, which are possible of erasing, or time walking another character, a monster's turn. So, yeah. All right, we got our last H. It's the Horizon Walker, which has been around for a long time. This was a prestige class from 3rd edition. So it's been around for a long, long time. All right. What do we got here? Get some additional feats. All right, the dedication. We get a terrain. We get a favored terrain feat, which is a skill feat. Oh no, it's a ranger feat. Okay. So we have to pick one type of terrain, which I'm willing to bet pretty much everybody is going to pick underground, which apparently gives you a climb speed. You ignore non-magical difficult terrain. And you get a +10 circumstance bonus to your travel speed. When other creatures follow the expert with you as a guide, you give them that ability to ignore non-magical difficult terrain for the purposes of their travel speed and the bonus to travel speed. So all this is really great. It's just limited by the fact that you only have one terrain. If this, you know, comes up once or twice a campaign, you know, yikes. If it comes up all the time, you know, that's fantastic. This description sounds like it is for a game that is not Pathfinder 2. Has anyone ever used travel speeds? You know, I'm sure Gid uses them all the time. So there it is. What's actually interesting, JG, an archetype that makes you want to play a different game that makes travel actually fun or interesting. Ironically, it does that by making all of the difficulty of traveling in terrain not a difficulty. So it's interesting. I don't think I've ever encountered non-magical difficult terrain. It's reasonable. Northern Reaches definitely didn't use travel speeds, and it would have been a prime opportunity for it. That is true. Again, hard to judge this one. It's got a lot going on. There's a lot of power in this dedication feat. Favored terrain, not, you know, is either going to be useless, literally useless, or pretty damn good. So, you know, getting a swim speed equal to your speed. Not eating and drinking a 10th as much as normal, and you're not affected by severe or extreme cold. And again, this is sort of the 5e approach, right? Where of Ranger, where it says, oh, you want to be good at this thing? How about we just make this thing kind of trivial to you? You know? All right, Acclimatization. There we go. In your favorite terrain only, you gain resistance equal to half your level to all environmental damage and are affected by temperature effects as though it was one less step severe. And when other creatures follow the expert with you as their guide in their favorite terrain, they too treat the temperature effects as one less step severe. Surefoot. You get a +2 bonus to skill checks, circumstance. Acrobatics checks to balance, athletics checks to swim, acrobatics checks to fly, so on and so forth. Used to be double expert, by the way, in acrobatics and athletics. Perpetual scout. When you're in your favorite terrain, you're always scouting. So that's the +1 bonus to initiative. And if you're a legendary, it's in any terrain. Okay, so you always get to do that. We're talking about this. No. Oh, you only gain the benefit. No. It says if you have the Wild Stride class feature, you gain a second benefit while in your favorite terrain, depending on your choice. Oh, you don't get any of these. You don't get any of these unless you have Wild Stride. The only thing you get for this is you ignore the effects of non-magical difficult terrain. Sorry about that. Thank you, Satir. No climb speed. No climb speed, no swim speed. Womp, womp, womp. Although I do agree with Luke. I do like you get the free exploration turn stuff. That's fun. I like that stuff. I like Perpetual Scout. I think that's cool. I like it. I do like that. That's fun. Blind Fight. It's just the Blind Fight feat. Okay. Is it only in your favorite terrain? Doesn't appear to be so. Okay. Magical Adaptation. You can cast Dark Vision, Spider Climb, and 4th level Water Breathing once each day. Okay. Sure. Terrain Master. You spend 1 hour in your terrain in order to make it your favorite terrain, replacing your favorite terrain temporarily. And if you spend a full day... Okay, so this is a good feat. This makes what we were doing here before a little bit more valuable. And I kind of like that. So I do think that is interesting. So as long as you are doing stuff out in the world, this could be a great way to do that. Warden's Step. You can guide your allies through the wilderness quietly. When you avoid notice during exploration, you can designate any number of your allies to gain the benefits as if they were using this activity during that exploration. This requires no action on their part. So they do not have to follow the expert or avoid notice in order to be avoiding notice. You're basically doing it for them for free. So this is definitely playing with the, exploration tier or pillar of the game. And lastly, at level 12, we do get the Wild Stride class feature. So this ignores us to ignore the effects of all non-magical difficult terrain, treat greater difficult terrain as merely difficult terrain, and now we get the favored bonus from our different terrain. So, all in all, a pretty good dedication if you're doing a lot of, outside overland travel stuff, right? And if your GM is really making a big deal about how far you can travel and how much the difficult terrain and, what is the temperature band? Is it severe? Is it extreme? And I agree that the favored terrain is pretty restrictive, and it'd be cooler if they had a feat that let you pick up 1 or 2 additional favored terrains. But getting this terrain master lets you, in an hour, convert your favored terrain to the new terrain, and then it stays that way until you spend an entire day. So once you get terrain master, if you're Horizon Walker, say you come to the edge on the other side of the mountains, there's a vast tundra. All you need to do is spend 1 hour, and now you are essentially a tundra master, Arctic master, and you're going to stay that way as long as you stay out there in that Arctic tundra. Now, granted, we start to get into problems with the game because by the time you're level 10 and 11 and 12, the wizard can cast teleport. Overland travel becomes much less important when you're that high a level. So there's kind of always that give and take. But and you pick up Wild Strider at 12. So I don't know. Oh, this is not flavor to me at all. This is mechanical. These are all mechanical options for interacting with the overland travel. Like, this doesn't fit a flavorful flavor role in your campaign. This is a mechanical dedication. Yes, exactly. Or Aaron, it's exploration mechanical. It's just like how the dandy was mechanical. The dandy was mechanical for social interaction. But it's definitely, yes, it's definitely mechanical. But Nin says, okay, I suppose still C tier. I am inclined to agree with Nin. I think that this is a C tier. Yeah, probably C tier. Fun though. I mean, I'm not saying I hate it, but it's pretty situational, unfortunately. So fun, but situational. Again, I'll say this: if your campaign is really focused heavily on this stuff, then you'll probably get a lot of fun use out of it. Otherwise, maybe not as much. Campaign reliant on the tier. Agreed. I think I'm very comfortable with C, but if your GM hand waves overland and doesn't make a big deal about overland encounter, or there's ready access to teleportation magic and stuff, you're not going to get a lot of value out of this. But if your GM is a stickler for the overland travel rules and really uses those to create challenges within your campaign, then the Horizon Walker could be a lot of fun for you. That being said, there is something to be said about, again, my understanding is this was a common problem in 5th edition. People would take the Ranger because they wanted to be, quote, good at the wilderness. But the Ranger class basically said, ignore the wilderness, it's easy. Like, you auto-pass everything, you find food, you never get lost, and so it almost like creates it to be a hand wave experience. And usually, in my experience, people don't want you to hand wave it, right? That would be like me taking a fighter and then the GM being like, oh, you chose fighter, so we're just going to skip combat now. You're like, well, no, I chose a fighter because I wanted to engage with those mechanics and just have a significant advantage. This class is so good at kind of eliminating the problems of overland travel, it kind of almost starts to do that. All right, that is it for our H's. And guess what? That's it for our I's as well, because there are no I's. What up? So we are going to do the 2 J's. We've got Jalmiri Heaven Seeker, and we have the Juggler. All right, well, the Jalmiri Heaven Seeker requires the Student of Perfection dedication, so we don't know what that is, but or we could have trained with a champion of the Challenge of Sky and Heaven, so let's just say that we did that. Certain martial artists dedicate themselves to fighting in Jalmiri's Challenge of Sky and Heaven. These individuals devote themselves to the esoteric mysteries of the sky. All right. Let's take a look. It's uncommon. It's from the Impossible Lands and from Pathfinder 158, 60 feet under. They decided to reprint it, making good use of their page space and your dollars. Seems a little strange to me. All right. Jalmiri Heaven Seeker. Luke asks, Derek, what are you going to do with the archetypes which fell through the cracks because of newly released books? Luke, that's a great question. That kind of also goes back to spells, for example, new spells that have come out since our spell rankings have been done. The answer is, I don't know. But, as long as these shows continue to do a little bit of money for us and a little bit of tips and super chats, and they're profitable for me to do, and the patrons seem to enjoy them, we'll keep doing them. And, you know, there are probably certain things I will never do, like items. But, you know, going back and finishing up some of the, or filling in some of the gaps that we missed, I'm not opposed to it. Everybody is telling me that the class was broken and the reprint is to nerf it. All right. It is reprinted for errata. Okay. It's weird that you need to reprint it for errata. Just print the errata. All right. Well, I will not know what the original one did, but here we go. Oh, here we go. The Jalmiri archetype is as printed in Lost Omens and Possible Lands is legal for play. Players may not use the version printed in 6 feet under. All right. You, level 4 dedication, you become trained in either acrobatics or occultism. These classes are always very weird for free archetype because I guess that means you have to like not take it at level 2. You become trained in acrobatics or occultism. If you were already trained in both of them, you become expert. So we get an expert, but it's at level 4. So that's not as game breaking as expert at level 2. You gain Key Rush or Key Strike Monk Feat, which grants you a key spell and a focus pool of 1 focus point that you can refocus as a monk. And if you already have both those feats, Key Rush and Key Strike, you can instead just get a first level monk feat. By the way, as a reminder, Key Rush lets you Key Rush feat lets you Key Rush spell, which just lets you move fast. Yeah, 1 action, move 2 times. Stride, stride, step, stride, stride, step. Or we get Key Strike, which is a feat, which gives you the Key Strike spell, of course, which lets you make an unarmed strike or flurry of blows, and you get a +1 status bonus to attack rolls. And they deal 1d6
tip $10
extra point of damage.
Tip to support the channel and anti-support to fill in gaps. Screw the new archetypes and spells.
Thank you, Booth B, for that awesome tip. I love the anti-support. That is fantastic. Love it. Appreciate it. It's so funny. So yeah. So we got a couple level 1 monk feats for level 4 feat. It's not worse. It's not horrible. Heaven's Thunder. This is not a long dedication. Oh, maybe it's got a level 20. Jeez. Heaven's Thunder, 1 action. Until the end of the next turn, your unarmed attacks and any monk weapons you will deal additional electricity and sonic damage. It's equal to the number of damage dice for the weapon. So 2 or 3, 4 points of damage. And you have to use an action. It's till the end of your next turn, which is kind of weird in Pathfinder 2, in my opinion. So we're spending 1 action to get a couple extra points of damage if we hit. And any creature who grapples us takes like 2 or 3 points of damage. Who cares? Again, thank you again, Booth B, for that tip. That was very awesome. Thank you. If you know the Key Blast spell, you can now use electricity or sonic damage instead of force, which you probably almost never want to do, but maybe someone's weak to it. Pretty limiting there. And yeah, that doesn't seem like a great way to use my action. But okay. So Strat is saying the action used to be so much better, didn't it? And I don't know what it used to do, so. We get a stance as well. We have to be unarmored. We enter the stance. The only strikes we can make are skyward slash and our skyward slash unarmed attacks. These are unarmed attacks that deal 1d10 slashing in the brawling, are non-lethal, unarmed, and versatile. And while in it, we gain resistance 2 to electricity and resistance 2 to sonic, which goes up to 5 and 8 at 18th level. Which again, very modest at best. And to be honest with you, sonic damage type has to be one of the least used in the game. So, I mean, yeah, it's not a great. I don't know. To me, this isn't a great stance. Yeah, this is the Heaven's Thunder is weird. You get 2 turns kind of damage because you do get it into the next turn. It's like a partial rage that only lasts till the next round. But instead of doing a ton of extra damage, you do like 2 or 3 extra points of damage. It's kind of weird. Sky Seeker. If we're in our Sky and Heaven stance, and we've taken this feat, and we've spent 2 actions, we can leap towards an opponent. By the way, that's not high jump. That's just leap. So it's just 10 feet horizontally, up to 15 feet horizontally if our speed is 30 feet, which it probably will be. So we can jump 15 feet. Cool. At any point in the leap, you can make a single strike against a creature within your reach. At 12th level, if we hit with this strike, instead of finishing our leap, we can immediately attempt a second leap from the space where we struck the target of our strike. You can then make a single strike attack against a target within your reach during the second leap as well. At 16th level, we can do this a 3rd time if that second strike hits, and you can attack any target at any point during this leap. All leaps made during this activity gain plus 10 foot status bonus to the total height or distance of your leap, and no 2 strikes can target the same creature. Keep in mind that as you make these strikes, you're going to be accumulating multiple attack penalty, and thus you only get to make the next jump if you hit. So you become less and less and less likely that you will ever actually do this. This is one of those, like, this seems really, really cool, but yeah. So Strat looked it up. Apparently, the old ability, the Heaven's Thunder, used to be half your level in bonus damage for each type. So that was very powerful. So at 20, it was plus 20. And JG says it was the nuts. Yeah, that is obviously insanely powerful. This is definitely Mario jumping on multiple flying turtles. But keep in mind, we're playing Pathfinder 2. So your multiple attack penalty is building up. You're just that much less likely to be able to do this. You might hit with the first, you have a, let's say, roughly 50% chance of hitting with the first. And then you have only a 25% chance of hitting with the second. That means that your odds of actually hitting with both of those is a very, very, very low 12% chance. So you're only going to hit 2 people with this to do a 3rd jump 1 time out of 10. When there is an opportunity to even come up that you would want or need to use this. Agreed with what Satir is saying and agree with what Anthony is saying. Captain Yankee pointing out that the stance doesn't even give you an agile attack. So it's not like you're able to mitigate the map either. Come to the conclusion after many years of playing Pathfinder 2. If you want to have fun and you don't mind longer combats, just throw like 6 PL -3 or PL -2, PL -3 monsters at your party and just call it a day. Everyone's going to feel way awesome. I promise you. Just throw 6 PL -3s at your party or -2s. It'll be awesome. Spellcasters won't complain about the fighter anymore. Gunslingers will be critting and doing crazy amounts of damage. Precision or flurry rangers are going to be hitting a bunch, critting, doing deadly crits. Crazy monks are going to be sky seeking. It's pretty crazy. The only they don't do it mechanically. Characters are not going to be threatened at all. Also, spellcasters could just use their incap. Monsters will be critically failing against their spells. The only problem is it takes a lot of time to run through 6 monsters. And also, I can promise you, those fights are a lot easier. So it's also a great way if you don't want to kill your party, like ever, but you want to play by the book, just use PL -2 and PL -3 monsters. There you go. All right, Steal the Sky, we get another key spell. Our focus point goes up. Speaking Sky, we get another key spell, whatever. All right, Cross the Final Horizon. 3 actions. We're in the sky and heaven stance. Cross the Final Horizons, level 20. Here we go. You stride up to your speed, and your key enshrouds your limbs in terrifying storm energy, increasing the reach by 5 feet. Whoa, 5 feet, you guys. All right. At the end of our movement, we make up to 3 strikes against a target we can reach, each at a -2 penalty. Each attack counts towards your multiple attack penalty, but the map doesn't increase until we've made all of our attacks. Instead of the usual slashing or piercing damage, this is electricity or sonic, and if we hit with all 3 strikes, the target is drain 3, no save. That's not bad. This is pretty cool. Obviously, it's pretty powerful. I mean, you get a move, we get 3 strikes, -2, it's like a super flurry. And if we do hit with all 3, drain 3 on a level 20 monster is 60 extra points of damage. The only thing that's really funny about this is this 5-foot reach. That's really funny. It's just so small and pathetic. Like it's it's a level 20 feet, and it's talking about our key enshrouding our limbs in terrifying storm energy. And then it goes, increase the reach of our attacks by 5 feet. But yeah. Very cool feat names in the archetype. I agree, Nin. Okay. Well, this is a flavor to be a Jalmiri Heaven Seeker. And, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen. But again, like, when would you ever use this in your campaign, right? Like, you're not just going to let somebody just bust out that they're a Jalmiri Heaven Seeker. Like, they have to have trained with the champion of sky and heaven and all this other stuff. But, I don't know. I still think it's okay. What do you guys think? Flavor C? I think it's a flavor C. That's my thought. Sorry, I'm just catching up on chat here. All right. Yeah. Damien says PF2 is all about cool descriptions for bonuses that are huge in the math but seem lame because it's just +2. That is true. +2 is actually a pretty sizable bonus in this game, but it just never feels that great or good. All right, Juggler. Only path. This is up there on the Pathfinder 2 thing. We're a skilled performer. We have impressive in balance. We're Juggler. This will help us greatly in battle. Because when I think jugglers, I think combatants. Oh boy, Pathfinder 2, please. Don't change. You won't too, so that's what's great. Oh, I will share, everybody, by the way. It's 9 o'clock. We're going to finish with Jay, and that means we'll have actually finished our archetype goal for the evening. But I do want to share with you a couple of insights that I have made this week. This is from Extinction Curse. Show must go on. Makes sense. It's a juggler. Okay, we need dexterity of 14, and we get trained in performance. And do we become an expert? No, we do not become an expert. We just get trained in another skill. But we do get the juggle skill feat. What up? Now we can juggle. All right, people. Do you just let people juggle? Or do you require them to have access to the juggle feat? Let me know. All right, it's coming up in the chat. Okay. would you let a PC juggle without the juggle feat? Yes. All right. Here we go. Let me know in chat. There's only 2 options. You have to pick one. I'm just thirsty. I had a drink. Strat says this is an early archetype, so there is no expert. Yes, yeah. It is definitely power creep on of that as well. This is uncommon, Nin points out. Juggle, by the way, yeah. So if you are letting people juggle, not only are you giving them the benefit of a skill feat, but you're giving them the benefit of an uncommon skill feat. Look at the text, people, on the juggle feat. We got details, people. Details. By the way, this gets into what I want to talk about after the set. Please don't let me forget. Say, Derek, you said you were going to tell us something that you've kind of figured out this week. Okay? Don't let me sleep on that. All right. Here we go. We get the juggle feats. So that's cool. Focused juggler. All right. By the way, so apparently in order to understand this class, we do need to read the juggle feat. It's 1 action. We need to have dexterity of 16. We only need to be 14 to take the dedication. Look at that, how much benefit we're getting. You could juggle items and still use your hand between tosses. You can use juggle in several ways. You can start to juggle with a single stored item, an item you were carrying, or an unattended item within your reach. The item must be of light or negligible bulk, and you could juggle the item until the end of the turn, unless you use this feat to continue juggling. While you are juggling, you can use this action again to add another item to the juggle. Just give us bandoliers, for Christ's sake. You could juggle a number of items equal to 1 more than the number of hands that you are using to juggle. This basically lets you have a free hand while dual wielding. Agreed. Yes, I know. You could continue to juggle as long as you are not fatigued. And when you do, you have to continue. You become fatigued if you spend 10 minutes, 60 rounds within the course of 1 hour. Oh my God. Yeah, you can't juggle a flick mace. It's an F. All right. So we baseline, we got our juggle going, but we can become a focus juggler. It's a free action. Our turn begins. We can continue juggling until the end of our next turn. Increase the maximum number of items we can juggle by +1. Wow. Free juggle. That's incredible. What about quick juggler? Well, if we're an expert in performance, when we start to juggle, or if we add an additional item to those that we are already juggling, we can add 2 items to the juggle instead of 1. So this is like a whole new subsystem, right? Like spellcasters have focus points. This is just like positive reservoir, where it's like almost like a sub mini system, a sub game. You're like, hold on a sec. I've got my inventory. Let me go to my juggle queue and see what I've got loaded up in my juggle queue. All right, I've taken several feats, so now I can interact with my juggle queue on several different levels. Number 1, I've got a free action to sustain the juggle queue, but because of my quick juggler feat, I can add 2 items into my juggle queue every round. I'm gonna keep that going between fights. Just, all right. But I can reflexive catch. If an item falls within my reach, or an attacker fails an attack roll to hit a creature within my reach with a thrown weapon only, if the item is a bulk that I can juggle, and if the trigger was a thrown weapon attack targeting me, I can't be flat-footed to the attack, and if I was already juggling but I'm not at my maximum juggle, then, and only then, I can grab that item. And if I was juggling, I could add it to my juggle queue. lobbed attack. If I'm juggling that thrown weapon, which I just caught because I have reflexive catch, then guess what? I can make a thrown weapon strike with a ranged weapon using its normal range increment. It doesn't trigger reaction. And if the target has never seen me use this feat before, they're flat-footed. And lastly, at level 16, we're talking about levels where casters can send people to other planes of existence, interdimensional planar prisons with no save. We're one level away from being able to cast Meteor Swarm, and we could teleport at this level, I think, to other planets, possibly across the galaxy. I don't know. Point is, we can now do an opportune throw. If we are legendary in juggling and a creature within 10 feet of us uses a manipulate action or a move action or makes a range attack or leaves a square, in other words, attack of opportunity stuff, and I am juggling a thrown weapon as a reflex, I can attack them. And if I critically, so it's attack of opportunity only within 10 feet, only with a thrown weapon that is currently in my juggle queue. And if I critically succeed and the trigger was a manipulate, we disrupt it. Wow. Wow, it was very even here, but it was very close. 60% of you say that you are a cheater and you hate the rules. You would let a PC juggle without the juggle feat. I weep for the people in your campaign. What else do you let them do, huh? What else do you let them do? Do you let them take care of more than one person while they're treating wounds? No. After they spend, a few moments bandaging someone's wound, you make them stand around for 9 to 10 minutes because God help you, they can't do anything else. Okay? You're just going to let them do that? You're just going to let them help other people? No. You're going to require the feat for that one, aren't you? You sure are. Wow. Strat. Yes, exactly. Where does it stop? Hey, I target 3 people with electric arc. They're standing really close together. There's 2 people with 1 person in the middle. I target the one on the left with electric arc. I target the one on the right with electric arc. Wouldn't you say the one in the middle gets hit by electric arc too? Jeesh. People are crazy. Chaos out here. I have no idea what to make of this juggler. This is the most outrageous, stupidest, awesomest, dumbest, most like Pathfindery 2 stupid, horrible thing that I would probably read on Reddit, some dumb character build that I've ever seen in my entire life. Captain Yankee says S tier chaos, or I'm sorry, S tier flavor. It's definitely a flavor build. All right, people, let me know what you think. Yeah, it's the dumbest fucking archetype in the game, but it works as advertised. I agree. This is so... I get it. It's from the circus AP. But, like, why not just lean into that? Why not just lean into that? Nin says, letting people juggle by is a slippery slope towards playing fiction first in RPGs. It cannot be allowed. Both A and F in flavor. Here's the problem. It's juggling. Why do we have all this and we're juggling shields and daggers and like it's so outrageous. Like who wants this in their game? I mean, it seems like a lot of hubbaloo for nothing. I'm going to put it at flavor D and just say I'm good. It's just so, of all the ways that we could just do things with action economy, why are we doing it this way? And horrible and move on. I agree. And I also kind of agree here with KC. I hate it so much, but there is a group out there that loves it, and this is their favorite archetype. Yeah, I don't understand that player much at all, to be honest with you. Okay, well, that was it, I think, for Jay. Yeah. So, if I'm reading this correctly, we're about halfway done. because we've done all the multi-classing archetypes, and then we did all the A's and the B's, and we did the C's and the D's and the E's. There were so many C's and so many E's and F's. There were so many of these things, people. G, and then we got today through H, and then there was no I's, and now we are up to 1K, or 2Ks, and then L, and then that's it. That's half the alphabet. So fantastic. We're getting it done, people. Welcome, Mike T. Glad to see you here. Reminder of something you said earlier that I already forgot. Oh, right. Exactly. Okay. I'll leave this up for a few seconds here, so people can see where we're at. So real quick before we talk about that, let's see what we added today. I don't think we had... So Hallowed necromancer, I think, was the standout archetype of the stream. Fun, flavorful, allows you to be the good necromancer, which is a cool mechanic. Gives you some really fun ways to interact with undead while being kind of the good necromancer, and I think that's a cool place to put the mechanic. And then we had some mid-tier stuff. Halcyon speaker, Hellknight armiger. Most of the Hellknight stuff kind of fell pretty low on the scale here at D's and F's. Overall, not a great session for the archetypes. Of all the ones that I think the Hallowed necromancer is probably the coolest one. So, yeah. All right. So good stuff there. Okay. So I want to say something. I came to a realization this week. By the way, thank you, everybody, for your tips and your super chats, your donations in general. Thank you to our patrons. And if you enjoy the conversation, as always, check us out. Patreon.com/nicelastcall. Link in the description below or on our YouTube channel. Come on in and join us. We're playing a lot of different games, especially lately. We've got play-by-post Pathfinder 2 games. We've got somebody hacking Pathfinder 2 with Blades in the Dark, which is really interesting. We've got some people doing some game design who have joined our Patreon, so that's pretty exciting. So we got a lot of stuff happening there in the game design space. It's very interesting. People really doing some fun stuff. So what I've noticed in the last couple weeks since all this 1D&D stuff started happening, and again, I've talked about this at length in some live streams, being very open about how I feel about it, which is I think a lot of people out there are being very, very, very misinformed, very stupid, and I mostly mean D&D content creators. I mean this crop of like D&D adjacent social media people, people who maybe don't have like a YouTube channel, but they maybe they're one of these so-called professional DMs or whatever. And I don't quite understand it's a bandwagoning thing, and it feels like D&D is being canceled. And I don't know why, because none of these things have ever not been true about the game. I just feel like people are reacting very, very silly. Anyways, outside of that, that's not actually what I wanted to talk about. I have noticed, I'm on numerous subreddits and, of course, Facebook and Twitter in the space, not just of Pathfinder 2, but of many different games. Blades in the Dark, Powered by the Apocalypse, r/RPG. And I have noticed that there is a definite influence or such an influx of new people who are basically saying, like, I'm so mad, I'm upset with what Wizards of the Coast is doing, even though they have no idea what they're actually doing. They're just going with the hype of, down with Wizards of the Coast. And I don't want to say that they're switching, but they're shopping. They're shopping for the first time ever. And these are people, in my general sense, who have never really played any game other than 5th edition D&D. It may have been the only game that they've ever known or seen played. But it's a testament to, the power of the internet that they are aware, or at least they are aware now, of some different games out there. And I see them coming into these different Reddits and subreddits or out on Twitter, and I'm noticing something. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people coming to Pathfinder 2. We talked about this in our Has Pathfinder 2 Peaked video, which is where I said I expect Pathfinder 2 to do really well in terms of if people are leaving 5th edition, right, for the right or wrong reason, because it's got good name recognition and it's a close, parallel. But there are a lot of people, now again, this is the power of sort of social media, that are aware of games like Blaze in the Dark or Dungeon World or Powered by the Apocalypse games in general. And they're showing up, and these 5th edition people are asking questions. And there's been numerous questions, and they all sort of, this is an example of a specific one, but they all kind of echo this theme. Someone was in the Blaze in the Dark, and they said, I'm from 5th edition. I'm interested in Blaze in the Dark. We've always run heist games in our 5th edition game. And already you're like, why weren't you playing Blaze in the Dark? But okay, they're here now. And they said, and I was reading through the book, and I was wondering, did I miss something, or has something come out where there's a detailed list of every single faction and every single location where that faction is? Basically saying, like, is there a place where all of this is completely spelled out? Because if you've read Blades in the Dark, you know that they have like this vague concept of a setting. And it's very much in John Harper's style to be like, I leave it as sort of a blank canvas for you, the game master, to make up what you want to do. And there's a lot of people asking questions about, like, what does the ghost field do? What does the ghost field mean? And what can you do with a tune? And of course, the game that John Harper designed basically says, what does the ghost field mean to you and your friends and your campaign? And I'm noticing, and I've seen something similar in Powered by the Apocalypse forums as well. And I'm noticing that the 5th edition players are kind of like, I kind of want just an answer for everything. I just want everything to just be completely spelled out. But then I notice the people from 5th edition who are coming to Pathfinder 2. And they ask these questions. And the Pathfinder 2 community is jumping all over themselves, pushing to get to the front of the line, to be the person who tells them, yes, we have a very specific rule for that. Yes, our campaign setting details down to the millimeter how many barbers are in Absalom. Yes, someone has already thought of this answer. Yes, there is a rule for that. There is a class for that. There is a feat for that. There is an item for that. You do not ever have to be creative or thoughtful again. And the 5e people fucking love it. They are going to love Pathfinder 2. I may have even misinterpreted. If this exodus of 5th edition continues, I think that Pathfinder 2 is going to do very well for itself in terms of the growth, in terms of players, because I think these 5e players want a game that is going to say juggle feet. Like, I need rules for juggling. Why should I have to make up rules for juggling? Pathfinder 2 goes, I got you, cuz. I got you. We got rules for juggling. You're covered. And I think this, I think this 5e crowd that is interested in leaving 5th edition, I think that they are going to respond to that very positively. And, I'm seeing how they are looking at the other games, but then they are getting answers that they don't like. They're being told, you figure it out. Whatever works best for you in your campaign. There is no right answer. It's kind of just a feeling it out. And they are like, that's what I've been dealing with for the past 8 years with this edition of the game. Exactly, Nin. A lot of 5e people have fatigue from all ill-defined rules. But what they call an ill-defined rule in 5th edition in Blaze in the Dark, John Harper, the game creator, would say that was intentional design. Like, just make it up, whatever. I don't know, whatever works for your campaign. And so, yeah, I think it's very, very, very interesting how that's going to happen. And I know that in my Pathfinder 2 peaking video, I made the distinction. I said, I think it is going to continue to grow and attract players. And I think I understated how much that is going to happen, because seeing the reaction to the people to these different game systems, I think is very telling. And again, I mean, this is anecdotal. I don't have real hard data science on this, and any polls that people are doing is going to be very biased data. But it is, I think, something interesting, and I think it's worth. I don't know. I think it's worth keeping an eye on and seeing what happens for it. Obviously, this doesn't really mean anything for us as a community, but it is interesting as people come in. Let's see what the chat is saying. Let's see. Gid said, this is exactly what drew me into Pathfinder 1. I'm assuming you mean the detail and depth of rules, the completely explained and detailed game world. Mark says that there is a precedent for this. Mark, maybe you can give us more detail about that. Anthony says nothing of consequence or note, and I'm going to ignore it and moving on. In 5e, it is an ill-defined rule because 5e is not the right rule set for you figure it out. Well, there's some truth to that. Frostjack, I think there are a lot of different crowds, but some will like PF2E for this reason. Some people will ignore the rules in 5e and will love PBTA. Yes, I agree. I'm not saying that this is 100-0 black white. I am saying I think this crowd of people who are leaving, I think are going to be, generally speaking, very attracted to the Pathfinder 2 model. The way it's structured, the way it's designed, the robustness of the mechanics, the fact that there's kind of an answer for everything. Everything's kind of been thought of already. I think that's going to be very appealing to those people. Nin, it might be said, it might be that they need to go to PF2 to open their minds a little bit first before they're ready to journey to Blades. I disagree, Nin. I think, and it's going to sound like a criticism, but it's not. I think going from 5th edition to Pathfinder 2nd edition is a step away from Blades in the Dark, not towards it. I don't think it's a step along, and not like that makes it sound like Blades in the Dark is some higher plane of existence that you're trying to get to. I'm simply saying I think that those are very different roads. The fork in the road, in the path in the woods diverged. I think one road leads towards Pathfinder 2nd edition, and I think another road leads towards PBTA games, including Blades in the Dark. So let's see. There's just a couple of years behind the KOLC Discord. I feel like the Discord was heavy PF2 earlier this year and starting to see the light of a broader set of systems. I mean, that's fairly true. I mean, again, I think it's also just, if you are, like, it's like football. I know football fans, and, I'm here in Cleveland. They watch the Browns. That's who they watch. They watch the Browns every Sunday. And if I ask them, are you a football fan? They'll say, yes, I'm a football fan. But then I also know people who I go, are you a football fan? They say, yes, I'm a football fan. And they could tell you, who's the, starting quarterback, wide receiver, running back for like all the teams in the NFL. They watch like all the games. They might record a game. They watch a different game, even if it's not their team, quote unquote. They're passionate about the game of football. But both players, or both people in this instance, would say that they're huge football fans. It's just it's a matter of perspective and degree. I like to think that myself and perhaps some of the people in my community are more like that second fan who, sure, I love to watch my favorite team play, but I also watch all the teams play, and I respect a good team, even if they're not, quote, my team. And I make sure that I'm aware of what's happening in the sport in general, because again, I'm interested in the sport of football, not just my own local home team, of which I may be a very, very significantly, invested fan. Frothy, I am a 5e X-Pack, so to speak, and I've always wanted a more mechanics, tactics-centric system. Pathfinder 2nd Edition looks to accommodate that better. That checks out. Strat says, consider skipping straight to 4E. Again, Aaron really likes 4th edition. I like 4th edition. It is not some radical thing. It's still D&D. It's still D20. It is, however, a very, very, very tactically centered game. At least the combat system is. That doesn't mean that the game is only useful for fights, but, I will say if the other problem with 4th edition is it's a dead game. So, Pathfinder 2 is going to have a lot more players, a lot more GMs available to you as well. Yeah. Aladia. Robust mechanics is handy when you're playing in loose groupings online. Well, I try to avoid those whenever possible because it limits the amount of negotiation you have to do on the basics. Yeah, that does sound horrible and awful, and I totally respect that need. PF2E is definitely the lawful evil of TTRPG rule sets. That is very, very true. Gid coming in here with a hot take. I'm starting to see more PF2 players wanting to go back to PF1. Interesting. I don't even know if this is worth a poll because I think I know what the answer would be, but let me see how many people are here. We have like 5 people here. We got 35 people in here. So I'm just gonna say only answer this poll if you've been playing Pathfinder 2 for a while. Okay. After a while of playing PF2, I'm just going to say I'm ready to try something else, or I'm sticking with the game till PF3. So again, I don't know what that number is for you personally, but if you just started playing Pathfinder 2, don't answer this because obviously you're going to stick with something you just got into. But if you've been playing Pathfinder 2nd Edition for a year, now, or maybe a lot of Pathfinder 2, let's say over the last 8 months to a year, maybe answer the poll. Interested in what you all see. Frostjack, I came from 5th edition and I liked Pathfinder 2nd edition somewhat for the detail and then moved on from there, but that is partly because of KLLC 2. Right. I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but we, Knights of Last Call, and especially our Discord, especially some of the people on our Discord, can have a pretty significant impact on your awareness of other TTRPGs, your perception of those other TTRPGs. I don't want to ever convince someone to play a game just because I said so. You should play the game because it legitimately sounds interesting to you. Damien says, I can name every starting quarterback in the NFL. I don't know that I could name 2. I think I can only name the one for the Browns because he's in the news all the time. What is the NFL red zone of TTRPG? Is it Ben's table? That checks out. That actually does check out. Strat is in a PF1 campaign again, having a good time. So Red Full Piece is bringing up Icon. I read Vicon this week, Red. That is a little too separate for me. I mean, for starters, Icon literally is just Blades in the Dark. I mean, like, it's literally Blade. Like, it's not even, I mean, they say we're just taking Blades in the Dark, but I mean, it's literally, it's dots in an action, get D6s, stress, aid, here's an extra D6, take a Devil's Bargain, but they call it something else, like Twist of Fate or something. It is literally Blades in the Dark. And it uses D6s and it uses D6 pool, and you have to get the highest. And then the combat system is quite literally a D20 4th edition plus Shadows of the Demon Lord clone. It's weird. I appreciate what they're trying to do, but I think they did it too separate. I understand it's in super beta, But I read Icon this week, and I was left with a little bit of a bad feeling in my mouth. I like the idea of it. I just don't know if the execution is there. I feel like having literally 2 separate systems is just really tough. It's really weird. I don't know. It's funny that you mentioned that. I love the art, though. Nin started with 4E and loved it, but PF1 I loved much, much more once I tried it. Interesting. PF1 over 5E. Players might want to switch back to PF1. I bet fewer GMs want to. Boothby. That is very true. Pathfinder 1 in 3rd edition D&D. Very rough on the GM. That's tough. Especially if you're making anything custom. It's tough. It's very tough. PF1 can go on the burn pile to the pits of hell. Oh, that's good. All right, let's see what the chat is. Wow. Okay. So we've got 60% of you ready to try something new. And 40% of you are sticking with the game till PF3. It seems that checks out. That does check out. PF2 has massive issues. PF1 has massive issues, like both systems. But the journey to find the perfect system continues. I mean, part of my spiritual journey of RPGs was that for the first 20 plus odd years, I mean, for the first 10 years of RPGs, I just thought everything was neat and cool, and I loved it. You know, 3rd edition and, 2nd edition D&D I thought was awesome. Then 3rd edition came out, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I would say right around like 2005 or so is when I first started to start thinking about RPG as a, design as an element. So, it's been about 17 years that I've been thinking about it as like an RPG design as its own, thing. 4th edition, 5th edition, Pathfinder 1, Pathfinder 2, a million other games. And I used to be obsessed with the idea of finding the perfect game. And if I couldn't find it, I would build it. But part of my spiritual journey of the last year or two, partially because of you all in this community and being able to have these conversations with you, has sort of been me coming to the idea that, maybe perfection is an illusion. There is no such thing as the perfect game system. And not just, the perfect game system for you. No, I don't even think that that's true. I don't think that there can be a perfect game system for me. And I think part of that realization is also like with my journey in relationships, romantic relationships. As I'm single, as most of you may know, and still live with my ex-girlfriend, but she's a sweetheart. She's really nice, but it didn't work out. And part of it was me realizing that I was like, you know what? It's not a problem with relationships. The problem is there's just too many opposing things that I want from a person, just like there's too many opposing things that I want from an RPG system for there ever to really be a perfect system for me. So, Boothby, PF2 is my bread and butter game, but I am enjoying branching out more, and that's awesome. I love to hear that. Strat, I picked something here. Here's the other thing. Like, I'm not going to get into it, but it's like at a certain point, like stop hacking, like just start making your own system. It's fine. It's okay. There's nothing special about the D20 system. I promise you. London, we are never going to cover Pathfinder 1. For sure. I did play a Pathfinder 1 campaign. I don't think we played it this year. I think we played it last year. We played Rapana Thuk for about a month or two using PF1. It was fun. I mean, it was nice to go back. Perfection is a journey, not a destination. Agreed. But I'm kind of tired of the journey too. Yeah, Nin. I mean, this is when I talk about wanting opposing things, that's kind of what I'm talking about, Nin. Like, I love fiction first gaming. I love games that promote character development and that reward character development and that encourage character development and that promote narrative story and that encourage narrative story. That's all very true. But I also like games where, you get stronger and you level up and you get sick treasure and you kill all the monsters and, sometimes a trap hits you in the face. It's a very weird set of circumstances that I find myself under. So Anthony, it's interesting that you mentioned that. Aaron and I, Mr. Smith, William Brandis, we had lunch today. We're off for the week. And we grabbed lunch, and lunch turned into like a 4 or 5 hour conversation. And we were talking a lot about what game we want to play in our private Friday night game. And, you know, a lot of ideas got tossed around, games that we've played, games that we've experimented with. And we were both all definitely of the opinion that we did not want to go and do another D20 game, even 4th edition. I mean, Aaron might want to, but I was like, you know, I've been playing so much D20. I've been talking about D20 over and over and over again. And I want to be respectful to the players that we play with on our Friday night game. And there's an air in our Friday night game of relaxed sensibilities. And so we were talking about, though, ultimately, what am I really interested in? And I think we kind of arrived on Legend of the Five Rings, possibly. But Aaron, at the last minute, threw out Avatar. I've been finally reading through the Avatar PDF in length and detail. And we're just really impressed with that system. Avatar Legend, the Legend of Avatar, whatever it's called. The Aang and Korra, not... what are those people are called? Jake Sully. We might do, I don't know, Avatar. Like, that's a popular IP, I think. There's a lot of people in our group who really like it, and it might be fun to do that as well. Right. Casey, you got it right. The journey is great, and this is exactly what's triggering it, Casey. It's the existential crisis. Because my whole life I was journeying, trying to find it. It was incredible. It's amazing. But then it's like, oh shit, I turned 40 this year. Look, I probably have more days of gaming behind me than I do ahead of me. And that's a very sobering thought. That's a very sobering reality to be with, is the idea that you have played the majority of games that you are going to play already. Like, you've reached that point in your life where you're on the back nine. And, you know, it definitely starts making you take a measured approach to how you spend your free time. So not to be sober or, you know, crazy, but, you know, is Avatar available to the public now? I don't know. I was a Kickstarter, so I don't know. I mean, I definitely have the PDF. I don't think the physical book is out yet, but yeah, I don't know. So I don't know. It could just be backers. I've had my final version of the PDF for a while now. Midlife crisis, Derek? Oh no, that was years ago there, kid. When I quit my job and dated a woman 12 years younger than me, 14 years younger than me, and then I spent thousands of dollars at the strip club, and then I started dating a stripper, and then I didn't get a new job, and I spent 6 months hiking the Appalachian Trail, and then I came back and decided I wanted to be a photographer, even though I'd never done it professionally, and then I spent tens of thousands of dollars outfitting a studio, and then COVID hit, and then I started a YouTube channel. So we've already done that. We've already had the midlife crisis. We're past that point. A measured approach, and yet you spend it rating PF2 archetypes. You know what, Strat? Well played. Well played. Mark, well, crap, I just hit 50, and I've been playing since I was 12. Well, brother, you know, maybe you're not overweight like I am, so I'm not giving myself that much time. That's all. You know, I'm saying 70, 75 is a good number for me. So, I'm going to try to get in shape though. I'm almost, it's so heavy. I've been building this rack. I bought a power rack and a whole home gym setup. I've been setting it up and I'm almost done with it, but I keep getting distracted. This week I wasn't going to do live streams, and now this is my second live stream. So it's eating up into my time. Yes, we've had one midlife crisis, but what about second midlife crisis? Yeah, Strat, that's the only real motivation to lose more weight, more time for TTRPGs. That's true. No, I mean, my midlife crisis was pretty awesome. I don't regret it at all, but you know, it is what it is. Anyways, just yes, I need the big font GM. You know, I'm not like depressed about it or anything like that. I'm just aware of the fact that, like, you know, I want these games. I want to feel something. I've been playing these games for a long time, and maybe you feel the same, maybe you don't. But, you know, sometimes it's easy to fall into a pattern where we're just going through the motions. And it's the ritual that brings us comfort, not the event itself. You know, I'm not a religious person, but I imagine that for some people, it's like going to church. You go to church because it's what you've always done. And maybe the ritual of it feels comforting, but maybe you haven't actually received any peace or enjoyment from the actual act of going in many, many, many years. And I think that's what I struggle with role-playing games sometimes is, you know, it's a kind of a quasi business for me now, and it's the end of the year. So it's a time for introspection. And, you know, it's a question of what is it that I want out of this hobby? What is the experience that I want to have? And, sometimes I feel like I want these role-playing games to really make me feel something emotional, something real. And I don't know, sometimes I don't get that. I don't get that from every role-playing game, quite frankly. And so I think it's important for me to explore that and understand that. I mean, you get those sort of visceral moments. Like, I think we all get excited when somebody rolls a nat 20 at a cool moment. Like, that's always going to be good. D20's pretty sweet for that. But yeah, I mean, I want something more, you know, not just out of life, but out of all my hobbies, because again, time is precious. When we were in Columbus earlier this year, we had an opportunity to meet up with some of our patrons, and we got to meet up with GM Scott. Awesome guy. And he said something, I don't want to butcher his words, but he basically said, you know, I've got, if you're going to waste, if you're going to waste my time or waste my money, I'd rather you waste my money, because I can always get more money. I can't get more time. And if you're stealing my money, I can get, you know, whatever, I can get more, but if you're stealing my time, you're just killing me. And I'm never going to get that time back. So, you know, I think that's a really good reason. And the reason I bring all of this up is, and Aaron and I talked a lot about this today, and have in the past, I don't want people to get the idea that I am negative, because I am not. I love these games very, very much. I'm very passionate about them, and I don't want to, you know, make any presumptions here. But my guess is, compared to most of the talking heads out there on the internet, I think not all, just a lot. My guess is I care more about these games, and they mean more to me than most people that are out there. Whether that's because of how long I've been playing them or how integral they have been to the very fabric of my life. I mean, I chose my college, which was in my local area. It's still a great school. But I mean, I chose the college to go to so that I could keep playing D&D with my friends while I was in college. That, you know, I didn't want to blow up our campaign. So I chose a college that was nearby instead of, you know, MIT or Carnegie Mellon or something like that. I went to Case Western because I didn't want to blow up our campaign. So, like, you know, this has been fair. I mean, this has been a huge component of my life. And I take it very seriously. And so when I'm negative about something, it's because it's not just a fun little pastime for me. You know, if I'm critical of something, it's because it is important to me. And I don't like people, you know, wasting my money or my time or, you know, my especially my RPG time, you know? So yeah, I don't want people to think I'm negative. That's the main thing. Yeah, Derek can be, you know, whatever, you know, he can be kind of grumpy and whatever and stuff like that. But it's not like that. I mean, these games, fundamentally define my life. So, and that would be true whether this channel existed or not. In fact, statistically speaking, I am not going to have this channel forever. It'd be cool if I had it for a long time. I love hanging out and talking with you people, but gaming will be here long after this channel is gone. And so, that's definitely, the case. All right. Strat says, okay, shit posting aside, go sit down. Oh, he's giving me life advice here. Okay. Go sit down for a weekend, write it down somewhere, make a good list, and think through it. It will help me so much figuring out why I play and what I want from TTRPGs. It also helped my design. Yeah, I do that constantly, Strat. I really do. I literally do that all the time. I do that all the time. Like I have my bullet journal, and I am always sitting there like after a session, I sit down and go, what did I like about that? What I did not like about that? Help me inform that decision, I had that same, what are we even doing here a while ago? The question of why I play and what I want from it and why some of it feels better than others. And I found peace in my answer. Yeah. Your answer might be kind of crazy, but I appreciate the introspection. Choosing college because of TTRPGs. Now note that is getting serious about gaming. It actually led me to play less TTRPGs. Yeah. That's definitely where I'm at right now. I'm definitely playing less RPGs than I was before. There's a lot to be said about maintaining good friendships over striving from tiers. Yeah, one of those players, which I played with, was Aaron, Mr. Smith, who is still my friend, still plays RPGs with me, and now he's in this, this crazy little business venture of mine with me. And so I consider it a good investment on my behalf. And again, and we had some great campaigns in college. It was awesome, because it's like, you weren't in high school anymore, but I also had a lot more free time in some ways. I might not have been the best college student. We used to play like people just show up at my house on like a Wednesday, and they'd be like, we're playing. We used to play Friday nights and Saturday nights. We would play from Friday from like 6, 7 p.m. to like 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning. Some guys would just sleep on the floor. We'd wake up the next morning, late. We might grab lunch. And then around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, people who didn't sleep over would come back over. And then we would play on Saturday again for another 10 hours till like 2 or 3 in the morning. It was wild time. I probably played, 20 plus hours a week of RPGs, maybe more, during college. It was awesome. And of course, I hadn't experienced as much as I had. So, the fruit was that much sweeter at the time. It was pretty great. Anyways, fun times. Hey, I'm going to be back on Saturday. You all might have awesome, cool lives, but I do not. I am going to be here on Saturday for New Year's Eve. I probably won't do it till midnight, but earlier in the evening, I'm probably going to come on and do a New Year's Eve stream. It's last year we did it. It was our first live stream ever, was our New Year's Eve stream last year. And so it felt like it'd be fun to do a 1-year anniversary of that. And, it'll just be I'll probably have a beer or some drinking, just to hang out and have some fun times. And I don't know that I have any goal in mind at all. Really, it'll be an opportunity for anybody who's not super busy and wants to come hang out and chat and talk. And hell, if some of you are, patrons and you're heroes and you're free and you want to come hang out with me and join the Zoom call, you let me know. We'll get you on. Hell, it's New Year's Eve. I might even make an exception and say, even if you're a champion, you can get in. Normally you have to be a hero to do that. So, yeah, fun times. I promise you it will not be a super, I don't know. We'll probably talk about anything. It'll literally be, I have no expectation of anybody ever watching it. It'll just be fun for us to hang out with, because I like all of you. I really do. I spend way too much time on the Discord. I know you all do. And, as well. And it's because I like RPGs and I like talking about them with you all, and I like you all. So that's how it really comes down to it. So, all right, everybody. That's going to be it. Thank you so much to everybody who tipped and chatted. Looks like we had a bunch of people shift out. Boothby ended up being our hype boss, so thank you, Boothby.
I am strong. Strong. Strong.
Thank you to everybody else who participated and joined in. Ooh, KC, this last stream last year was awesome. I think that's what converted me from YouTube sub to patron. That's awesome. It's so weird to me now, like how long some people have been patrons. Like it's crazy. Like people are really coming through their 1 year anniversaries the last couple months, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe we've been around for that long. Just make it a clusterfuck New Year's Eve Zoom call. I mean, listen, we gotta have some standards, Anthony. But I'm eternally thankful and grateful to you all. And hopefully, if you don't join us on New Year's Eve, you have a safe, fun, healthy, awesome, fantastic New Year's Eve. I hope you all have a great evening. And Strats coming in.
Take a tip $6. My answer was TTRPGs are about meaningful human interaction. Is that crazy?
I don't think it's crazy. I do think it's funny, Strat, that you said that was you came to the realization that TTRPGs are about meaningful human interaction. And the net result was that you said you played less TTRPGs. That's hilarious. Damien, that's true. Damien is one of the people who've been around here before we even did live streams. So we got some old guards still kicking around there in the Patreon. So love to all of you. Thank you so very much. Hey, we got a great super chat there from Henry, kicking out the new hype boss. Henry says cheers. Cheers to you, Henry. Thank you for being a incredible supporter of the channel, both as a patron and as a YouTube subscriber, and for the super chat as well. You just got sniped. You got hooked, man. I love it. I know you do not. You're bad at the last minute sniping. I love it. You know, it may not have been the best TTRPGing that's ever occurred in the history of TTRPGing, but at that time, at that place with those people, I loved every second of it. It was prime 3E. You know, I started college in 2000, so third edition literally came out fall 2000, which is when I entered a freshman as an undergrad. The third edition is still to this day will always be probably my edition, the one that I just played the most hours and reps with, and we loved it. It was incredible. It was amazing. That was when we started going to Gen Con and Origins, because, you know, we were finally our own adults, and it was amazing. It was awesome. So loved it. So happy to see that you share those same thoughts there, Caverns and Cave Trolls. All right, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for those last minute snipes. Henry, thank you for taking out Strat. Strat, thank you for trying. Love you all, and I will see you next time, which will be Saturday on Nights. Oh,
Caverns and Cave Trolls tipped $50 towards your New Year's party.
Thank you. That is incredibly generous of you, Caverns and Cave Trolls. Right as I was about to finish up, incredible. Caverns and Cave Trolls takes the cake. Incredibly generous of you. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it so much, and excited to work with Caverns and Cave Trolls. And he's got some cool stuff down the pipeline, which I'm sure we'll be talking about in the future here in the TTRPG space. So, Gid, that does make me feel, it doesn't make me feel that old, actually. I've come to terms with that, but thank you so much. London Matthews said it best. Good night. Love to all. Thank you very much, Caverns and Cave Trolls. Thank you very much, Henry Strat, for those last minute tips. Thank you to everybody who donated and tipped tonight. We'll see you next time on Nights of Last Call. Peace.